Hey guys, welcome back. This is By the Book and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sil.
And we're talking today about Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 11, yes. Lindy and Miguel.
Lindy and Miguel.
So, this couple is on a roll. This is not my self-proclaimed favorite couple, but they're a power couple, honestly. This was the episode where Dr. Pepper comes and talks to the couples and tries to resolve any outstanding issues that they have going on. Mm-hmm. And she sat down with this couple as well, but there wasn't a whole lot to resolve. No. The first issue that I think was probably pretty minor, a non-issue, Lindy talked about with Dr. Pepper was that she's kind of defensive. So Miguel talked to her, or he mentioned to her she was cooking something that I don't know if she should put the onions in first. I can't even remember what dish
the onions
it was. She should do that first. And she immediately got defensive. I think that's part of her just being immature. I think that's like a kind of childish response. Yeah. But it's not bothering Miguel, despite the fact that she said that, she's a little self-conscious about, how she is as a wife. And he said, I think you're killing it. So he's not addressing that type of thing, that type of response as a major issue in their marriage. So it was a minor non-issue to bring up, I think, to Dr. Pepper. She didn't have a whole lot of work, I guess, to do with this couple. Dr. Pepper pointed out that she thought that Lindy doesn't like to be controlled because she fought in her life to have control. Yeah. And of course that has to do with her upbringing and her having such a conservative upbringing in her household, in her family, such a religious upbringing, not being allowed to do much, not having much freedom. So in her gaining control over her life, up to this point, I think she's 29 or something like that. She doesn't like anything that makes her feel like she's losing control. It makes her kind of defensive.
Yeah. I get all that. When I was looking at a counseling session though, now Dr. Pepper, she says that they've been keeping me, abreast on what's been going on in the couples and things of that sort, right? And so obviously she knows some of the things going back a few weeks ago, when they had to dispute over the insurance and things of that sort, and how Lindy continues to say that, Miguel hasn't seen the worst of her and he needs to impress the worst. And so none of that came up in the counseling session. And so again, I think it was a missed opportunity for Dr. Pepper coming into the situation. But I think she took it probably as a win because they're doing okay. They're doing fine in spite of some of the issues that they've
I think you're right.
to deal with.
I think she could have at least addressed that for our sake anyway. Yeah. For TV's sake, so that we know that she's actually addressing issues that they've gone through. We haven't really gone through issues with them in terms of her being defensive about her cooking. Yes. 99 times out of 100, it looks like Miguel is cooking in that house. That's all he's ever doing. He might as well wear a chef hat. Yeah. So I don't even see why that was brought up, and then the other actual issues that they've had haven't. So, that's a good point that you make, but I think that if the experts have a couple that's doing well at this point in the show, they just want to call it a win and get in and get out of there.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So she did ask them if they told one another they loved each other yet, to which there was like this real long, silent, awkward pause of a moment. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on?
Yeah, Lindy was like, no.
No, right. Finally, somebody chimed in and said no. And then in the confessional, Miguel's like, that's special to me. And so he didn't want to do it a disservice by saying it, I guess, at the wrong moment. Yeah. So, he hasn't said it yet. So, which, led us to believe at that point, and we saw later, that, he actually was feeling that way. Yeah. So, that was a good moment for them.
It was.
Moving on to the scene of Lindy taking Miguel on a dance session date type of thing. Yeah. So that was cool for her because like she shared with him again after their dance lesson. She never danced with a guy before their wedding. She said that was the first time she like formally danced with a man because of her conservative upbringing. Mm-hmm. So Miguel is pretty sympathetic to how she grew up. He said it was sad to him that that's the way that she grew up. And Lindy even expressed that she didn't even understand why that her religion didn't allow dancing, especially because there was dancing and partying and things of that nature in the Bible. So it just wasn't clear for her.
Yeah, it is a bit sad that sometimes people within religions embrace a nothing, type of attitude, towards God. And when it's not about religion at all, it's about relationship, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a certain type of person to really delve into the scripture and begin to know God. But I'm not here to discuss God today. So let's keep it moving on.
So Lindy goes into her note to self, and I think she expressed that she moved out of her family's home at the age of 14. I think she moved with friends.
Yeah.
And that though that was hard for her, most of her letter focused on that being like the right move. Like that's where she needs to be because her home situation was toxic. Mm-hmm. So still, again, nice moment for them. Miguel is understanding what's going on. I think it's something that they've expressed to one another before. We've heard pretty much that of her story, that she had to move out at a young age and she's making her own way. So in some ways it forced her to grow up very fast, but in some ways, like I said, I think she still has a juvenile mentality because of that.
Yes.
And she has a very sheltered mentality because of it too, because she was raised to be very sheltered. And it's showing his face, but I don't think that, at least up until this point, it's been to the detriment of them.
Sure.
Miguel then takes them to, it was a Puerto Rican, say what I'm trying to say, babe, please. The House of Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So I guess it's a place located where they are, but that has all these, it's almost like a museum.
Almost like a museum,
with things from Puerto Rico that he can show her, because obviously he can't take her to Puerto Rico. So
he said that he will.
Yeah. But I mean, for the sake of the show, he can't take her to Puerto Rico right now to show her where and how he grew up. And he talks about how it was difficult for him to growing up in New York because he was Puerto Rican. He looks Puerto Rican, and he wasn't accepted. I guess he was in predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, and he wasn't accepted for that. However, when he went to Puerto Rico and lived, he didn't know any Spanish. And I know from having Spanish-speaking friends myself that is frowned upon in that culture. If you have Puerto Rican descent, if you're of Mexican descent, and you do not know Spanish, you get a little bit of heat for that.
I didn't know that.
So it's probably not understood. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh no. Like I know that was an issue. So he didn't feel like he fit in. And maybe that's why he has his like kind of weird side fun stuff that he does with the Dungeons and Dragons, because that kind of suits his like outcast type feeling. But oddly enough, I did mention that to my husband earlier. I was saying, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that bear costume since very early on. No. We see a Miguel that doesn't present like he's into Dungeons and Dragons like he is. We just see a normal Miguel.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see it, because when we first saw him cast for this, we were like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody better than this. But no,
costume.
Miguel, he's all right. He's solid to me.
Yeah.
So when he shares his note to self, he's talking to his younger self and saying his experiences in terms of something better is to come. He wraps it up very nicely. by saying you'll fall madly in love with this woman, so it'll be all worth it. And that's the point at which he decided to tell Lindy that he loves her. And she seemed pretty shocked.
Yes.
And I think then he turned to ask her, do you love me? And she's like,
yeah.
She never said yes. She was just like...
Wait, I thought she said I love you too.
Oh, did she? I didn't see it. I just saw her nod her head like a bobblehead. And I was like, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it did catch her off guard when she was telling, reading his whole letter and everything.
Yeah.
And he says, you're going to grow up to meet, this wonderful woman that you're going to fall madly in love with. And I don't think she thought he was talking about her. I think, and then she was like, he was like, I love you. I'm in love with you or whatever. And she's like, huh? Oh yeah, me? Like one of those type numbers. I think she was in total shock.
Well, I thought that was sweet.
It was.
I'm not a very sentimental person, but I thought that was nice, especially if it was kind of by surprise. So
yeah,
I
think it was. It was the right time. It was the right moment.
For him, he wanted it to be special.
It was, and I think it was.
Yeah.
I think he hit the mark. I think it was a beautiful moment between the two.
Yeah. So guys, let us know what you think about this couple. I really don't have anything bad to say about them. Thank goodness. This is a couple we don't have to spend a half an hour talking about their drama. So, I mean, hey, good job, I guess. Yes. The experts lucked up on a match.
I really think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really think they did. And again, I think, Dr. Pepper, how do you think she did?
She didn't have to do anything.
All right, then.
She, like you said, the one thing she could have addressed, she really didn't. Mm-hmm. And she got in and got out of there. So she's letting this couple fend for themselves, and they're doing okay.
All right.
So let us know what you guys think in the comments, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll be with you soon.
Bye.